All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning back into Psych Word. You are now on the couch with Rob Gerard, and on the phone right now we have Javier Colon, winner of the first ever season of The Voice. Javier, how you doing?
I'm good, Rob. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for calling in, taking a few minutes.
No worries. My pleasure.
Now, what do you like to go by? Do you go by Javier Colon or just Javier? Because I know earlier in your career you were just Javier, right?
Yeah, that's good stuff. Not a lot of people know that. My first deal with Capitol Records, they kind of wanted me to just be this one name guy, and I said okay, sure. But once I had the opportunity to put my last name back on there, I did, and I'm happy. Yeah, I mean you can call me Javier Colon, whatever you want. But my friends call me Jav or Javi. But professionally, I guess I go by Javier Colon.
All right, great, man, great. Now, you grew up in Connecticut.
I did. Born and raised in Stratford. Born in Bridgeport. Grew up in Stratford.
Wow, that is awesome, man. I mean, what a small world, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, here you are, a kid from Connecticut, and you make it on. I mean, first of all, The Voice. Obviously, that's what you're best known for, But people don't know you've had a career that stretched, and it took a lot of work for you to get to that point where you were on The Voice, right?
Yeah, I had a lot of ups and downs in my career, and I was hoping to never have to be on a show like The Voice, and I had a deal with Capitol Records. I got signed in 2002 and released a couple albums in '03 and '06, and then I got dropped from the label at the end of '06, and I was looking for a deal, and American Idol was out already at that point. But I didn't even really think about going that route because I said, well, I got a deal the regular way. The first time I said, hopefully, I can get a deal, again. And I tried and tried and tried. And for 5 years, I kind of kept having doors slammed in my face, and no one was interested in giving me a second chance. And, but I was able to ride that wave of the Capitol Records deal as long as I could. Then 5 years down the road, beginning of 2011, I just didn't really have many options. I just wasn't making, enough money to support my family, and it was getting time to where it was either do music or do something else because I just, I had to provide. And, fortunately, The Voice happened to come into the equation at the exact right time when I needed it. And at first I didn't even want to audition for the show. I had to be talked into it. And, I'm very thankful that that my friends and my family talked me into it, and here we are.
Well, at that point, The Voice it didn't have the credibility it obviously has now. People weren't sure if it was going to be kind of like a one-shot deal, what the show was going to be, right?
Yeah, that was the thing. I mean, they had sent us, some videos from Holland because it originated in Holland, and they had just wrapped up the first season of the show there. And it was a huge hit. It crushed, X Factor, and it crushed, their version of American Idol. They said, hey, we got to bring this to the United States. And I didn't know if it was going to be a good show or not. And that was one of my hesitations, of going out for the show. And my brother, he was talking to me about it, and I told him I wasn't going to go and audition. And he said, what do you have going on right now that you don't think you should go and try this? And I thought about it, and I had nothing. I had just, 2 weeks prior, I had gotten another rejection from another record label that I really thought was going to sign me. And they ended up passing, and I didn't have any other options really. So I said, you know what, I'll give this, one last shot before I start looking at doing something else. And fortunately, it worked out.
Now, we are a show, Psych Word. We're all about psychology and mental health, and we want. I think our listeners want to know: did anything in your career prior prepare you for what The Voice actually was? Because here you are, you're in front of a live studio audience, you're in front of these celebrity judges, and it's really like all or nothing, right? I mean, at that point in your career, you must have felt like, if this doesn't happen, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everything that had happened in my career had led me, to that moment, I had a lot of practice. I had some nerve wracking, shows that I had to do on television because of the the Capitol Records deal, performing on the Ellen DeGeneres show and did like some late night shows and stuff like that when I was on Capitol. So I knew what it was like to kind of, perform, in front of a studio audience and know that was being, sent to YouTube immediately, to where you can't take it back if you mess it up, But, all that being said, I mean, nothing can completely prepare you for that experience, because it's just, you're all in. I mean, you can't leave. You're living and breathing, what you're doing there, and you have nothing but time to sit there and think about the choices that you're making and how you're going to sing the song and how you don't want to go home and how this could affect the rest of your life. And it's definitely a nerve-wracking experience like nothing else that I have ever been a part of. So, but it makes you stronger. And the thing that I kept telling myself, I said, listen, I mean, if this is what you want to do, there's no room for nerves. You don't see Adam Levine getting up there and looking nervous. That's not what you do when you're a professional. So if this is, if you call yourself a professional, act like one. And then that's kind of how I would, talk myself into feeling like I, belong there. It's like, so, at least making myself think that I did. And, fortunately, I talked myself into making it, as far as I could.
And I'm sure you must feel like, like sports players the week of the Super Bowl, they just want to get out there and play. So you have all that free time that's going on before singing, and you're like, I just want to get out there and do it because I'm going to drive myself nuts.
Yeah, no, yeah, you definitely get antsy. I mean, they do keep you, somewhat busy, with the shooting schedule and the way they have you filming different things and your rehearsals and stuff like that. I mean, there is stuff that you're doing throughout the day, but I mean, there are big chunks of time that you have downtime. And yeah, you wish that, you could just fast forward a few days and just get your performance over with. But, at the same time, you use every moment that you have, to practice and to make sure that you're doing the best that you possibly could. And then that's how I tried to spend my time.
Definitely. Now, Javier, tell me about your show that you're doing, the Inside Voice.
Inside Voice, actually, we're not doing anymore. That was something that we did for one season.
Okay.
And that was with my friends at the Back Nine Network, and we actually are not doing that. We actually haven't done it for the last season. We didn't do last season, but you never know. We may revive it. It was a fun show that myself and a co-host would. We basically talk about what we would see on the Voice, and I'd give my critique. Having been a contestant myself, having like an inside scoop to what they're feeling and what they're going through. So we had some fun with that, and who knows, maybe we may bring it back for this next season.
That sounds great. Now, what is it you're working on right now, music-wise? Tell our listeners.
Well, music-wise, I'm actually just this week. I'm going to be signing with a new record label. I don't want to say who it is because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but that paperwork is being drafted as we speak, and I'll be working on a new album. I'm going to be I have to deliver a finished album, beginning of next year. So I'm looking forward to getting some new music, written and out there for everyone to hear, first quarter, hopefully.